Creating dynamic shots with AI video just got a lot easier with the release of Nano Banana Pro. So today I'm going to show you how you can combine AI video tools with Nano Banana Pro to create some really cool shots like the ones I've just shown you on screen here. And I'm going to do it all within Design AI as they have sponsored this video. Now we're going to get to some pretty interesting shots, but we're going to start simple and build from there by focusing on camera angle control with Nano Banana Pro. So to start, we're going to go to text to image in Design AI. And we're going to change the model. So I go to where it says Design General, and you'll notice we have Nano Banana Pro. So I click on that to use that model. Now I have a few different resolutions. You'll see it listed below as you change it. We can also change the aspect ratio, which also affects the resolution. But on top of that, we also then come up and type in our prompt. I have a man in a business suit standing on top of a mountain, golden hour. I'm going to turn off the prompt improver because I want a bit more control. I hit generate. There we get this still image of a man standing on top of a mountain. So from here, I add this image to the canvas. I'm going to close down the text to image window. And by selecting this image and coming down to chat editor, I'm going to ask it to change the angle with this image attached. So I've prompted to change the angle of the photo to look down on the man to a high angle shot. And I want to ask it to show more of the mountain. I make sure then to have Nano Banana Pro selected. If I click on this, I can choose from a few different models. I'm going to go from default to 16:9 because I want to make sure I get that 16:9 aspect ratio for my video. I then hit generate, and now I've changed that angle to a higher angle of the same man on the same mountains, and the consistency in this model is insane. But my next step is to take this frame as an end frame and use my previous image as a start frame, so our video knows to go from one frame to the other and fill in the blanks. Now you notice I have this image on the canvas as well, and if I head over to my layers, I have both the start and the end image on my canvas. So I head over to AI video, and I come down to where it says Kling 2.5, and I'm going to choose Google VO 3.1 Fast. I come over, see I've got my model selected here. I then come up to choose my start frame, and I could choose either image here, but I'm going to choose our original image of the man up close. I then choose my end frame and make sure I select the other image. And with both images here, I come down and write a simple prompt. Now describing what I want to see, I say change the angle of the camera to view the man from a high angle. Wind is blowing and the jacket is blowing in the wind to add a little bit attention to that detail. I then come down and hit generate. We get this nice consistent shot with the wind blowing and the camera changing, and it looks really organic, spot on. But I can also reverse these, so starting off with the ending shot to get a different effect, but I make sure I change my prompt to suit what I'm after. So instead of viewing the man from a high angle, we say view the man front on, and then I generate again. This time we get the reverse, where we're approaching the man, and it makes for a much more cinematic style of shot. Now, as we go further into some of these shots, the process is actually quite similar to what we just shown you. And that is, we're going to create our images with Nano Banana Pro for a start frame or for both a start and end frame. And then we're just going to simply pop them into the video tools and prompt for what we want to see in our video. So what you've seen here is pretty much going to be the same process with a few differences in how we do things like the prompting or whether or not we add an end frame to what we're creating. But now we're going to focus on a dynamic zoom to create an interesting and dynamic shot. Now this time I ask for a full body shot of a powerful ancient warrior ready for battle, standing in front of a temple, show his face looking determined, staring directly at us. And we're going to create a start frame and an end frame much like we did in the last step. And we were able to generate this image of a man standing in front of a temple. And once I have that image on the canvas again, I head down to the chat editor and enter my prompt. I say keeping everything in the scene identical so we don't get any changes, zoom in and crop to the man's eyes looking determined. I then check my settings, hit generate, and now we have our end frame. So then I go through that same process as before, adding a start and end frame into the AI video tools. I then describe what I want to see in the prompt area. I say the man breathes heavy and looks aggressive and determined as the camera zooms in to focus on his eyes. And then we get this nice cinematic zoom for our character. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but there are a whole bunch of other tools we can use within Design AI to further enhance our videos. But I do want to touch on one in particular, and that is lip sync, because we can create these dynamic shots and then add dialogue on top of them to create not only just a static talking shot, but something with a little bit of movement that's a bit more interesting. And I'll show you how that works. Now, what's also really cool is that if I have this video here, which has the dynamic zoom in it, I can actually even use some of the external tools like lip sync to add some dialogue to this character. Hit next, keeping the generation mode on Pro, 1080p. I can come down and pick a voice. I come down to something like maybe Adam Stone. And of course, I test it out to give it a quick listen.
The people who are crazy enough to
I think that works out pretty well. Enter some dialogue. Something basic like I'm ready, let's do it. And the capitals will help him sort of like say that a bit more aggressively. I can generate the audio.
I'm ready, let's do it.
And the voice hasn't quite worked out the way I want it to. So I'm going to come up and try something different. Maybe James and regenerate.
I'm ready, let's do it.
I think that sounds pretty good. I could also upload my own audio, but for now I'm going to stick with the AI generated audio, hit apply. And I can also move this up a little bit to determine where in the video I want him to speak. So maybe as it gets closer to his face, and then I can actually play that back and see when it will actually mention this line. So I hit play.
I'm ready, let's do it.
I think that timing works out pretty well. I hit generate, and here's what we get.
I'm ready, let's do it.
Now keep in mind, sometimes when you're prompting for images or videos, you may need to try once or twice to get the actual result you want. The vast majority of the videos and images I produce in this video are all pretty much the first image, just to show you how good Nano Banana Pro has become and how good the AI video tools are. But now we've got a few runs up on the board. Well, let's look at something a little bit more interesting. I'm going to show you a TV transition effect, which I think looks really, really cool. So I've generated this image of a woman carrying a boombox, and I want to have this TV effect, but before I do that, I need her to actually be moving, otherwise she's going to be in the exact same spot. So I come down to the chat editor, and I simply add, change this woman to be closer as if she has walked toward us and is looking up. So that way we have kind of like a start frame, and we're going to generate a movement end frame. And now we have this image where she's moved a bit closer to us. So if I click on that, go to my chat editor, I can add in a prompt, pop this image into an old television screen. I hit generate, and we've generated this image, which I'll add to the canvas, which means I now have this image and the original where she's walked a bit closer and she's on the television. So now I simply head over to my AI video tab, add my start frame, which is the original shot, my end frame being the TV shot, and then add a prompt. I have show a woman walking toward us holding a boombox, slowly zoom out and transition to reveal she is on a television set. So now I hit generate, and you can see how we create this nice dynamic shot. Now that's a pretty interesting effect to add into your video, but on top of that, we can also flip the concept on its head and do something such as entering a photograph. So we can actually go into a photograph and kind of see the scene after we've gone past the initial framing. Now the next shot type is a reversal of that process. So if I want to bring a photo to life, I come up and generate my first image. So I have a Polaroid photo of a man sitting on a bench in the park. The Polaroid is sitting on a desktop surrounded by office items. So we got the Polaroid photo, what it's sitting on. I generate my image, and then we've been able to generate this image here. So once again, having it clicked, I come down to the chat editor and I simply type, extract the image from the photo. I hit generate, and then I was able to generate this image. However, there is a problem that it is zoomed back a little bit further away. We want it to be cropped in a bit tighter. So sometimes you might have to make adjustments as you go, but essentially I click on this image. I'm going to remove the Polaroid, shut this down, and now that I've clicked on this image, I come down to chat editor, and I'm going to just say, crop to the man's head and shoulders. I hit generate again, and now we have a much closer shot of the man from the photo. So what we're going to do is actually then come over to AI video again, and this is a bit of a two-part process. So I'm going to change this time to Kling 2.5 Turbo Pro, choose my start frame, being the Polaroid image, pick my end frame, being the close-up of him, head and shoulders, and then I simply say, zoom in steadily to the Polaroid photo to reveal the image of the man. I hit generate. Then I have this cool zoom in effect from the photo, which looks pretty dynamic. We can also get a little bit more dynamic with it also. I can swap these over and then remove the end frame and prompt for this character to do something so it comes to life as the camera zooms in. So I change my prompt, the man smiles and then stands to walk away. the camera zooms out and follows his movement. Now, I do want to keep the model the same because I don't want there to be any weird sort of changes in color. I want it to be pretty seamless. So keeping the same model I think is pretty important here. I hit generate. Now we have video of our guy getting up and walking towards the camera. But by adding it to the end of the first shot on my timeline using a video editor, I get this effect, which is a nice dynamic transition. Now the next shot type takes advantage of Nano Banana's intelligence, its ability to grab data and put it onto images. And I wasn't really sure what to call it, but I'm calling it an information animation. And I'll show you how it works. Now we can get this cool effect where we add in sections with information into a video. So I have this map of Australia with all the capital cities labeled, created in the sci-fi video game UI style, and it actually has labeled them pretty well. I'm going to add this to my canvas, shut that down, and then of course come into my chat editor and ask it to remove the labels and icons from the map. I hit generate, and now we have our map without the labels on it. So once again, I go into AI video, choose a model which has a start and end frame. I'm going to click 2.5 again, click start frame, choose the map without the labels. So you see it here, no labels. Choose my end frame, pick the map that has the labels on it, and then I type in my prompt. I have a flickering screen display effect of a map of Australia. The labels and icons appear in a computer UI animation style. So going from here to there, I hit generate. Then we get this nifty UI style animation. Now again, if we combine something like a camera angle change with a process like this, we can get a pretty interesting shot that way also. But if I come back to this project here with our man standing on top of the mountain, this is where we can get a little bit more interesting with it as well. I can come down to chat editor and add, please label each item of clothing the man is wearing in clean text with simple arrows. I hit generate. And I now have these labels here attached to the image. So if I scroll down to the last video I did and copy the prompt, I can come over to AI video and the prompt's actually still held on there, which is good. I come up to start frame, choose the image of him that is further away, and then the end frame, I choose the image with the labels. So I had these labels here. I need to add to my prompt something like text labels appear around the man with a transition animation. So I generate again. Then we get this really, really nifty effect where it comes in and slowly the labels appear. Now, while we're mentioning camera movements yet again, there is something else you can do that makes for interesting storytelling to sort of take the focus from one item to another, and that is to shift the camera's focus in a shot. So I have here, create a close-up image of a man standing with a volcano in the background. The volcano is out of focus and blurry. And we have that here. We have the man. We have the volcano, which is blurry. I add that to the canvas. I then come down to my chat editor, and all I really need to do is say, make the man out of focus and blurry, and then add, make the volcano in the background sharp and in focus. I then generate that, and now our man is out of focus and the volcano is in focus. So I come over to our AI video, hit start frame, and I'm going to choose the man in focus. And then for the end frame, the man out of focus, and then describe, change the focus of the camera from the man to the volcano. The man looks around. I hit generate, and we get a nice organic shift in focus. Now it's really cool that you have this layer of control by having the start and the end frame. You can use AI to do something subtle, or you can take it up to the next level and create things that are completely different and just simply get the video to work out what's in between. But that's why we're going on to the next step, which is to create a time-lapse video of a process going from start to finish. All I have to do is type up a prompt of a scene that I want to see. This one here is like a temple with a beautiful waterfall. So I generate that. And I get this image here. It looks beautiful. We've got some monks and a rainbow. I head down to the chat editor and I ask it to change this shot to nighttime. Remove the monks from the photo. I'm going to generate. And then I get this night shot here. And if I go between the two images in my layers panel, you can see it's done a pretty good job of keeping it consistent. So now I decide to head over to AI video, add the min as my start frame and my end frame. I then enter my prompt, create a time-lapse video to show the temple during the day as it darkens to become nighttime. And then I generate that to get this cool time-lapse effect. And everything's slightly jerky and it darkens up until we get to that nighttime shot. Now, so far we've focused solely on what we can generate with AI, but with all of these tools and all of these different dynamic shots, we can also work with actual photos of real people or actual places. So if I take that same time-lapse idea and apply it to a real location, I can get a pretty nifty result. Now we can also use this image of a bridge. It doesn't have to be an AI generated image. I can take that into design and use Nano Banana to add things like snow onto the scene. From there, I use the start and end frames as we did before. I then prompt for my time lapse describing what I want to see change, and we can create a video like this one, which has a pretty dynamic effect. Now we can start to combine the AI generations with real photographs. So my next step is to put a real person in a fake location. And so you get the idea from there. We can drag in images of ourselves. And with this one, I'm going to change the background to a city street shot of, say, something in New York, something a little bit busier. And from there, I can just use that as a start frame to generate a video of me in New York turning around and walking away. And you can see the shot turned out pretty good. So you can use this to create some really cool videos using actual photos of you or your friends just for a bit of fun or for some kind of filmmaking. So you can see how easy it is to now put a real person into a scene by actually just having a photo of them. But on top of that, the AI does a pretty good job of keeping their likeness when it animates them or even changes some of the poses. And that brings me to my next shot. The next thing we can do is add two people into a scene. So I drag and drop in this photo of Bruce Lee along with me. And from there, I click on the image of me, go to the chat editor. I then add in a second image by clicking the plus symbol and adding in the photo of Bruce Lee. And then I enter my prompt. I say, place both of these people standing next to each other in a dojo. I then check my settings, hit generate. I then have this image of me standing next to Bruce Lee in a dojo. I use that as a start frame, enter a basic prompt of what I want to see, like the two facing each other in a kung fu stance. And then I get a video just like this. So you can have a lot of fun with this process also. Now this next one is a lot of fun because you can take a real photo of yourself or someone you know and you can make them look really, really old, but then use the AI video tools to create an aging effect of them going from young to old. And this is a really, really nifty little video. So I drag in a photo of me and I'm going to come up and crop it so I get a little bit closer to my face. And this is a handy part of Design AI's editor. Once I have it cropped, I'm going to come down to the chat editor. I'm going to change it to 16:9 to make sure I get that correct aspect ratio. I then enter a prompt, make this man look 80 years old and visibly aged. I then hit generate and it creates this aged version of me. So from there, I come over to AI video again, grab a model that has a start and an end frame. I then add the start frame of me being young and the end frame of me looking old, and then enter a basic prompt. Show the man aging smoothly. And then when I generate, we get this nifty video of me slowly getting old, which gives me a little bit of a chuckle. So by harnessing image to video, we can rely on something like Nano Banana Pro, which has such a high level of intelligence that does a really good job of creating unique images, accurate images if you have information in there a lot of the time. Not always accurate, but it's also got a really, really high consistency when dealing with faces or people, which makes it really, really powerful across a number of ideas when creating AI videos. With that in mind, character consistency is another great way to use Nano Banana Pro for images and videos. So I come back to this project here and I'm going to go up to my layers and I'm going to remove the image we've generated, go back to the original. And now I go to the chat editor. And as long as I'm in here, what I can say is create a photo of the man in the attached image as a samurai warrior. I then come down, go 16:9, hit generate, and it creates this image, which looks like me, but also I convert it to a video, asking him to put the helmet on his head and draw his katana, and it works out pretty well. And of course, we can try other character types here. And it maintains my likeness even through the video itself. So you can go through and try yourself in different types of characters pretty effectively. But on top of that, if you decided you want to reuse that character, just use that same image you generated to generate more images as a character reference. Now the possibilities here are endless. Any type of image you can create and then edit for an end frame means you have a very direct reference to give the AI video tools to create whatever it is that you're after. So I challenge you to come up with an idea and try it for yourself, and leave a comment below and let the other people around here know exactly what you've been able to create within Nano Banana and with the AI video tools that we've seen here. Now, also, I highly recommend checking out Design AI simply because it has Nano Banana Pro inside and baked into the interface while also having a bunch of AI tools attached to it. These all-in-one platforms are a great way to really get a whole bunch of different tools all together for a single subscription, because everything has a subscription these days. So I just highly recommend checking that out, having a play, and seeing what you come up with. But otherwise, that's the video for today, guys. I hope you found it interesting and useful, and if you did, please consider giving the video a like. Otherwise, thanks for watching, hope to see you again soon, and have a great day.